So I had this was years ago. This was oh gosh, probably like 15 years ago. Probably 15 years ago. And I had recently met this girl at a barbecue, at my friend's barbecue, and we hit it off really well, and seemed really sweet, and she's super cutie. And we had planned our first date. And I told her we were corresponding by text and phone call. Back then, texts were very minimal. Were we even texting 15 years ago? I think we were, yeah, but texts were very minimal. You still mostly talk to the phone. So we were like corresponding, and I was like planning a fun date. And one of the things I wanted to go to a carnival. And to make the date more interesting, we each told each other that we had to like dress up. Now, this was in the middle of the summertime, but we had told each other that we each had to like dress up like it was Halloween, like for a just like a Halloween character, just for the heck of it, just to make our first date more interesting. So my costume of choice was Magnum PI, and a lot of you are probably too young to remember Magnum PI, but Magnum PI was this seminal 1980s detective show featuring Magnum PI, who was played by, oh my gosh, Tom Selleck. The name almost eluded me. And Tom Selleck was a PI on Hawaii. And he was originally from Detroit, so he always wore a Detroit Tigers ball cap, a Hawaiian shirt with his hairy chest sticking out, the buttons down, and then super, super short shorts, and then no socks and like boat shoes, and a mustache, of course. And that was his MO, basically. And my date, to my delight and surprise, this little blondie was dressed up like a super cute and like super stylish Little Red Riding Hood. So it was like I was really impressed by her Little Red Riding Hood outfit. It was like I could tell she put work into it. It was it was super stylish. That's all I can say. I don't really know how to describe it beyond that. And it was very stylishly done. But distinctly, you could tell she's dressed up as Little Red. So we went to this carnival, and we had a lot of fun. We were going on different rides. I spent way too much money winning one of those big, huge, giant, like stuffed bears, right? Against one of those carnival games where the system's rigged against you. So I spent a bunch of money because I was determined to win against the rigged carnival game. And then I finally beat it. And I was really proud of myself, even though I shouldn't have been, considering how much money I spent to win that thing. So I won this giant, life-size stuffed bear for her. And she seemed amused by that. And we were going to leave. And then we were going to go... We're going to go get like ice cream and burgers somewhere at one of the late night spots after that. And so we were leaving the carnival. And as we were leaving the carnival, there was like this fun house that it was like one of the only things, surprisingly, we hadn't rode on at this carnival. But it was like kind of run down, a bit more run down than the one you see in the picture on the screen before you. But I've always found these kind of pop-up haunted house rides to be kind of oddly magical in their own way. So I'm like, we gotta do it. And she seemed pretty into it. So it was one of these things where you get in a cart and the cart starts moving. And it moves and it turns like very suddenly. It's very it's like jerks you around, and you can hear all the mechanics going off. And it's whenever you ride one of these things, it just feels like it's about to fall apart at any moment. You know, it's kind of the nature and charm of carnival rides. You know, so we were in this cart, and you know, you're going through, and then all of a sudden it'll do things like it'll just blow a bunch of like air on you from above the cart, and it'll make a loud noise to scare you, like psh. So that was happening a few times. And then like skull faces with like light up eyes would like pop out of the side, and then the cart would stop, and it would the robot skeleton would scare you, and then you get on the next thing. Anyway, we turned the corner into this next room, and the display before us was much more elaborate than anything else we had seen in this drive-through haunted house contraption. And there was like a guy being like decapitated, and some guy holding his head. And then there was this other scene where a person was running from this other very menacing kind of like half man, half monster looking thing. And, you know, they're all like these kind of like robot automation things that just made like one or two motions, right? And then there was like ghoulish screams and music kind of playing along the side to soundtrack this scene. Well, as we're watching the scene, this is where it gets really interesting. The ride like stalls out. It stalls out and it just breaks down there. And we're like, huh, okay. And so I thought it would be fun and funny, and I don't know what prompted me to do this. I said, let's get on there. Let's get on there. So we jumped up on the stage with this scene, these automatic characters, these robots and stuff. And while we were up there, the ride started again, and the cart moved really fast, and our cart was like, it was gone. Like, we couldn't get back on the cart, so we were stuck up there. And while we were stuck up there, new riders like kept coming in, obviously, to see what was going on. So as new people were passing by us, I just looked at her and I was just like, just play the part, just do stuff. So like, I was making like the most menacing face I could, you know, within the scene. She looked a lot more convincing because she was an all red, and she was like kind of she actually had the benefit of being on the side of the display with the decapitated head, so she could pretend like she was holding a decapitated head. So like, having a really cute girl in a Little Red Riding outfit, like pretending to hold the decapitated head, is much more interesting and alluring than a tall guy that's wearing a Magnum PI clothes and just kind of standing next to a ghoul. So people were kind of just confused by that. So then we're like, what do we do? So then the next cart that came by, I'm like, we got to jump in it. We just got to get out. We got to get back on the track. We can't just stay up here. We're going to get in big trouble. So the next cart that came by, you guys, was like I said, let's jump on it. So these poor kids, they were like pretty young. They were like a high school couple, this boy and girl. And they were like, you could tell they were on their first date. And by first date, I mean, they weren't just on their first date with each other. You could tell they were like on the first date of their whole lives, both of them. And they were very nervous, and we kind of just like jumped on top of them in their cart. And they were just so nervous. They didn't know what was going on. I'm like, listen, I said, we lost our cart. We just got to share the cart with you. And they were just so beside themselves. They're so scared. And then now the ride was starting to end. And at the end, you could see the light out of the tunnel outside. And sure enough, the dude that ran the ride was a pretty surly character, and he was looking straight down the chute of where we were coming out, because he knew we were in there, and he was wondering what was going on. And sure enough, straight ahead outside was our cart with our giant bear, because we had taken the giant bear that I won earlier, and the only thing that came out the other side of this ride in our cart was the bear, and the bear was still in our cart, strapped in. So as we came out, this guy gave us the meanest, most dastardly look and was shaking his head back and forth in strong disapproval. He was very angry. And he had a few choice words for me, and I just let him kind of cuss me out. And then I said, hey, after he was finished with his blue streak there, I said, hey, you mind if I get the bear? And then he just made a motion. It was just like, whatever. And so we grabbed the big, giant bear, and then we skedaddled out of there and got our ice cream. That's the end of the story, guys. That's the end of the story.